fight till we do. You know what I'm saying? Low budget environment style, baby.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Like, I'm not even trying to. I don't even feel like playing music right now. I'm just talking some shit. There's some things I just really got to get off my chest right now. Okay, right now I'm in Denver, Colorado, and it's 15 minutes away from Aurora, right where I'm at in Glendale. And that was where Elijah McClain was murdered last year by police. Now, I'm just going to keep it real. I have not been really in a good mood in like the past 3.5 weeks, like especially following the death of George Floyd. I have just been, for real, I have just been fucked up. Like, everything following this is just, how can you not be angry at this? Everything following, I don't even want to talk about the video. I'll just save that for later. That's another discussion. But it's this constant in America. And that is police violence against black people, anti-black racism. And it's just way too fucking prevalent in this country. It's embedded in the cultural fabric of this country. Only even Stevie Wonder could see it. He been talked about this. This shit ain't new. And it's like, I see people on social media being like, oh, this and this person's a revolutionary now. Oh, they woke. It's just like, you know what? Nobody's trying to be a revolutionary. It's just shit has not changed since the times of MLK, since the times of Martin Luther King, since the times of Malcolm X, since the Black Panther era. Shit has not changed. And, you can trot out as many examples of black wealth as possible. You can trot out these sports stars, these entertainers. Even they're saying shit has not changed. Something has got to change, It's just, in the past 3.5 weeks, since George Floyd has been murdered, over 120 people have been killed by police. The police have just been escalating their violence against the people. And there have been many protests around the country. And I appreciate that. I appreciate that people are out there actually showing the cause for black people and everything. And that's, the pushback to that is another thing that's kind of fucking pissing me off, all right? People are out there protesting anti-black racism, and the president, Trump, is just adding fucking fuel to the fire every minute. And it's just, I'm telling you what, I'm 35 years old. I lived through Reagan, even though I was little as shit. Don't really remember his presidency. I lived through Bush. I lived through Clinton. I lived through GW. I lived through Obama. And Trump is the president I absolutely fucking hate. How can... Everything about this dude just legit fucking pisses me off. I'm not even gonna lie. He has just been racist gaslighting black people for how long since his presidency? I can't take this shit anymore. Even people who think, this shit is funny, I kind of want to smack them the fuck up. This shit isn't funny to me. I gotta worry about myself. I gotta worry about my family members and the racist motherfuckers that he is just gassing up with this shit every day. Every fucking day. This is driving people insane. I can't do 4 fucking months of this, let alone 4 fucking more years of this. And I'm gonna tell you this, for real, I don't even like Joe Biden, from what I learned, but I'm gonna vote for him because I'm sick and fucking tired of this bullshit. I'm not doing 4 more years of this racist bullshit. For real, one of the things that's been pissing me off about this, as a Nigerian, as a West Indian, I'm sick and tired of this country's mistreatment of African Americans. I'm sick and tired of this country's mistreatment of black people. It is fucking criminal. If there is a God, I swear, they would try the United States of America for crimes against black people worldwide. From slavery to colonization, the Jim Crow, redlining, gentrification, all that. How are you supposed to be happy in this type of atmosphere? How are you supposed to be content? I can't be content. I had to say something. And that's why I've been on my grind on Instagram. I mean, I've been fucking promoting music and everything, but it's like, I I don't even care about that anymore. This is more important to me. Because if shit don't change now, it won't change for future generations, and they'll still be doing the same thing. That's what people don't understand. If you don't solve the problems of today, you're just passing them off to everybody else tomorrow. I'm not trying to do that, you know. There are too many great people in history that inspire me. And to be honest, I could not do wrong by them, and I refuse to. And to be honest, there's no people on this live, nobody's following this. I don't even fucking care at this point. I'm just gonna record this and put this on my IGTV. If anybody wants to watch it, they're too, but I'm just pretty much just talking shit to myself, and I'm having a jubilant great time doing it. I don't even fucking care, yo, for real. I'm just mad, like, and that's kind of one of the reasons I made that change.org petition that I've been, I already got almost 5,000 signatures. That's good. I want more. But I was just thinking about how Germany, like after World War II, like they sought to just destroy any sort of they just sought to ban Nazi paraphernalia, Nazi symbolism in the whole country. Hitler is buried in a parking lot. Across the street is a Holocaust memorial. And that made me think, like, that's how you move on in a country. Like, everything that's going on with these statues, straight up, that's good. Tear them all down. Tear all these statues of slave owners down. Tear all these statues of Confederate traitors and seditionists down. Tear all these statues of colonialists, rapists, and murderers. Tear them all down. That's how you grow as a country, all right? Instead, we have our own fucking president telling us that deadass, we need to preserve this history. No, we don't. No. I just think about, okay, first of all, let's talk about some history for a bit. The majority of these Confederate statues were not made, they were made after slavery. The idea was to put them in cities with high concentrations of black Americans in order to pretty much just put the fear of the white man in them, the fear of the KKK. And a lot of these statues and monuments, they came out in the 1910s when the film Birth of America, the first American movie, was made. And that basically started a resurgence of the Ku Klux Klan in America, to the point at one time they had 20 million members in this country. But the idea was to instill fear into the hearts of black people. And that was just added to the racist sentiment that was felt around then, to just instill hearts into freed black people's minds and hearts. It was fucked up. That's why I don't care about these statues going down. They should have gone down a while ago. They should have never even been made. For real. Like, that's one of the reasons, like, I started this petition with the Confederate flag to just make it banned on the national level. And I want to shout out Bubba Wallace for doing that in NASCAR, pushing for the Confederate flag to be removed. NASCAR has now issued this statement a while ago that they will no longer have the Confederate flag displayed or allow it at future events. And that's good. That's good. And to be honest, I never thought I'd see the day where NASCAR would even do something like that. But that's what kind of pushed me for this, because I'm going to tell you a story right now. I grew up, I was born and raised, I'm a Nigerian, West Indian, first gen American. My pops moved here to America in the 70s. My mom moved here in the 70s. I grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. That's in Pennsylvania. And let me tell you something. Growing up there and living there, I saw Confederate flags damn near every day growing up there until I was an adult. And that shit pissed me off all the time. And, okay. I was living in Lawrenceville in 2011. I had an apartment out there. There was a truck. I'm kind of telling on myself here. There was a white truck that was parked outside that had a Confederate flag on it. Like, I was so mad. I just went inside my apartment. I just grabbed black spray paint and I just spray painted the whole. I just pretty much spray painted this dude's truck, all of it, just wrote obscenities on it. And I never saw that truck again. And then I was thinking about it. It's like, I had a conversation with a friend a while ago, and they were telling me, it's like, yo, you can't fight every racist out there. And he's right. You can't. But you can use the law or whatever, or sway public opinion to get stuff that could curb racism. Because it's like, let's keep it real. Racism is not going anywhere at all. We're going to be in, like Lil B said on The Age of Information, you know, we could be in space, but there's still going to be racism. If humans are fucked up, it doesn't matter what we're going to do after that. We'll be fucked up afterwards if, like, we don't do anything to solve the problems right now. Like, and generations of that will be fucked up. But if we could work towards, like, curbing or just completely just diminishing the influence of, or just stopping these hateful symbols and teaching people why these symbols are wrong, like, we can actually make some change. Like, here's one thing, like, I'm all for people's personal rights, you know. You can hang up a Confederate flag in your bedroom or your house. If you want to cosplay as, like, General E. Lee or Hitler, do that on your own time inside your crib. That's cool. I have no problem with that. The moment you come outside your place with that, there should be consequences. And that is the reason why I started this petition. Because from seeing all the signatures seeing all the signatures that this got, I realized I wasn't the only one that was just deeply just upset and just infuriated by seeing this all the time. And I really do believe if America is going to ever heal from its deep wounds, like, we got to get rid of all this stuff. We got to get rid of all these statues of slave owners and Confederate generals and, like, colonizers and murderers and rapists. We got to get rid of that Confederate flag. Like, okay, going back to Bubba Wallace, it's like, oh, he's getting pushback for that. Like, people are talking about defund NASCAR. Like, in Talladega, there was a noose found in Bubba Wallace's garage. And that's sad. It's just like, that's the type of thing I'm talking about. That Confederate flag is associated with so much racial terrorism. Why even have it in a sane society? Like, Germany did the right thing by banning the swastika and banning Nazi paraphernalia. Why can't we do that here in America? And then, like, I'll browse, like, Twitter and, like, Instagram and all that. I've heard the Confederate flag defenders say, oh, white and black people in the South, they display that. And then black people are like, oh, hell no. I have never met a black person in the South that rep that flag. If anything, the common consensus from black people in this country all over is that whenever you see that, that's pretty much a sign you are not wanted in that area and that your life is possibly in danger. And I'm really thinking of this response to what Bubba has done in NASCAR, and that kind of proves the point that maybe this flag should just go away. If the response is just pure, just rage and attempts of violence, then maybe it doesn't deserve to be in a sane society. Like, I'm just thinking of America right now. Like, do we still want to be even considered a sane society? Look at how the rest of the world is looking at us, especially during this COVID-19 pandemic, all right? This country has over 120,000 deaths from COVID-19 in less than 4 months. Like, over 2 million, almost 3 million have been affected by this. But yet you still have people that are just defiant on wearing masks, saying, I can't breathe with that. How the hell would you feel if you had a police officer's knee on your neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds? talking about I can't breathe. It's just a mask. Like, America is so, it frustrates me so much being here, and I'm not gonna lie. If I can get my black ass to Nigeria in the next year or so, I'm doing it. If this Trump dude wins again, I'm gonna try to get out of here. This is just not, this is embarrassing. All right? You can't even use the cause of American exceptionalism anymore, because American exceptionalism has failed in so many ways. We are now the #1 country with the most COVID-19 deaths and infections. Trump pretty much did fucking nothing. He knew about this for months. He fired CDC officials in China. He cut the Obama pandemic task force in November of 2018 because he didn't think he would need it. And in his egotistical mind, he thought, oh, we can fire these people and then we can hire them back. And then it's like, nah. And then he only cared when the stock market crashed, but by then it was too late. And there have been many reports that pretty much say that if he acted sooner, 90% of these coronavirus deaths could have been avoided. So we're at the largest loss of life that could have been prevented in America right now. And people still bitching about face masks and all that. And this racist motherfucker is just pouring flames on the flames, and I can't do it anymore. I'm going to tell you one thing, Instagram, whoever's watching. I had a family conversation with my dad, my grandma, and my mom a couple nights ago, and I just lost it. I'm like, I just can't stand this country anymore. I just can't stand how racist it is. Like, I just cannot stand the mistreatment of black people in this country. So much about this, and they were agreeing, like, and I told them, like, I was supporting, like, everything these protests are doing, everything cause, because it's like, one of the things I don't like thinking about here's one of the reasons I don't like watching these police videos and why I don't. One, it's like, okay, I just want to see people alive. I mean, two, I just think, like, it's like, the reality of it is that, you know, it could be me. Like, I could be killed by police one day, just minding my own business. Just being black in the wrong area in the wrong time. It's happened to me before. So here's another story I'm going to talk about, all right? Spring 2012. I'm walking. I graduated from the University of Pittsburgh in spring 2012. I was walking from my apartment in Friendship to the University of Pittsburgh campus to attend a class. So I was walking, and I had to cut across a Penn Ave to get to Forbes. So I did that, and I was jaywalking. And then next thing you know, this white police officer, pulls me over. This isn't even a police officer. This is a University of Pitt police officer. Like, I've never talked about this before to, like, a real audience, but, like, shit was traumatizing, right? He pulls up in front of me. Like, as soon as I'm walking to the library at Pitt across Forbes, this car pulls off to the right. And then these two white male police officers, they come up. Like, I'm just complying. Like, these are both University of Pitt police officers. I'm just complying because I just want to get to my class. I'm not trying to deal with anybody's, like, whatever. So I'm complying. I'm asking yes. I'm asking, like, they're asking me questions. I hand them my ID. I'm doing everything. I'm complying. So, and then they're asking me questions. I'm just saying yes or no. Like, I've been in this situation many times, more than I'd like to be in. I've been arrested before when I was living in New York City. 3 separate tapes, but I'm going to talk about that later. Right? I'm just talking about this story at Pitt. So I get to the library. The cops come. I'm talking to them. I comply. I'm answering their questions. I'm keeping the answers short. Yes, no. I put my hands in my pockets. Then, I can't even believe this happened. Then, the one police officer in front of me, he's going to get his gun. Like, he literally is just, I see him going, as soon as I put my hands in my pockets, I see him going to get his gun. The other officer that is there literally had to put both of his fucking hands on this motherfucker's head so he doesn't pull out his gun, and try to shoot me. This is in broad daylight. That's the only reason I did not die that day. Because it was in broad daylight and there was tons of witnesses. Guaranteed, if this was night, I would have been dead. And I tell people that story and they don't fucking believe me. Why would I make that shit up? That's not a fun experience. I nearly died that day. That's not a fucking fun experience. And I'm sorry for using such excessive profanity, but it's just like, I get traumatized thinking about this. And I remember every single detail about this incident. This guy had a Third Reich tattoo on his arm. You got an Iron Eagle? He had that shit on his arm. This was a fucking University of Pittsburgh police officer that had Nazi shit on his arm. This motherfucker almost killed me. That is the first time I've ever talked about that, yo. Whew. Like, that shit. And if it wasn't for the other police officer, by the way, who berated me, called me a boy, told me to shut up, didn't respect me the whole time, if it wasn't for him, I would have been dead. He literally had to restrain that police officer for pulling out his gun when I put my hands in my pockets. I wasn't even dressed thuggish or not threatening or whatever. And that shouldn't even be an issue. But that was a nightmare. And then I think about that, and then I think about Antoine Rose, who was killed by a Pittsburgh police officer that used to be a University of Pitt cop who got fired for being too fucking racist for University of Pittsburgh police. And then I'm like, wow, they have a problem there. And that's the first time I've ever talked about that. So one thing I just had to clarify with that is, sometimes when we're discussing these experiences as black people, there is this inherent racism that comes out that makes people think that we can't be trusted to be the proper auditors of our own experience, as if somehow we're lying, as if somehow we can't be trusted, or if we just don't have the contextual analysis or hints for clues or whatever to really be the proper storytellers of our own stories, which is so ridiculous and disrespectful. I don't even want to entertain that idea anymore. But yeah. And then, okay, more bad experiences with police. I've been pulled over several times, all right, for driving in my family's neighborhood, for driving while black, basically. Had 2 cop cars come up and same thing. And it's like, yo, my family lives here. I'd show them my ID with my family's address, and it's like, it's literally 5 minutes that way, but somehow they don't believe me. Like, what, you think I'm some thug or hood and I just came to the white people's burbs just to fucking rob people? I wouldn't even be out there if it wasn't for family living out there. But yo, it's just these nightmare scenarios that just every black person in this country just ends up going through. That it's just like, yo, that's why people are out there protesting for George Floyd, for Breonna Taylor, for Ahmaud Arbery, for so many. And it's just, here's another thing that saddens me about these situations. I'm 35. Like, it's all right. One of my first memories of the news is watching Rodney King in 1990, in the early 90s, 91, 92, getting beat up by 4 police officers. Every time a black person gets killed by police, that footage always plays in the back of my head. Like, I saw that on TV when I was like 7 or 8 years old, and I feel like it never brought me peace watching that. And it's like, here's the difference though. Rodney King lived, but what happened after that didn't die down. Like, it's still the same situation over and over. It's just the names, the ages change. And one of the fondest memories of growing up in the 90s was watching on TV the LA riots go down. And I was young, I didn't even know what it was about. It was only until I got older, and it wasn't even really that much older, unfortunately, that I started to just like understand why people were bad. Like, cause then it's just like Johnny Gamage got killed in '97 in Pittsburgh. And then it's like, then if it's not Johnny Gamage, it's Abner Ulimo or it's Amadou Diallo. You got shot 41 times for holding up a wallet at the wrong time by NYPD. And that's another one that never brought me peace. Yo, like, I'm African, so it's like, you know, I've had I'm West Indian, I'm first gen American. I've had this conversation before where like friends are like, why do you got so much hostility towards police? And it's like, okay, but you're not black though. You're not African. You're not West Indian. And they're talking about, oh, why are you just making it personalized an issue? And it's like, the fact that other black people in this country have had similar stories lets you know it's not an individual thing. And it doesn't matter how many, like, quote unquote good cops there are. If they're not speaking out on the wrongs of the bad cops, then they're just another bad cop. Now I'm going to tell you another story right now. Summer 1996. My cousin from St. Croix came to visit us out in Pittsburgh, all right? It's me, my sisters, and her cousin, like our cousin and her friend. Like, my dad's riding this Mercedes-Benz, like vintage Mercedes-Benz from the 90s. You remember them joints, like my 90s kids, 80s babies, like y'all remember them. We get pulled over. We get pulled over. And the officers are just like, license and registration. And then, like, he's complying. Next thing you know, they're giving him the hardest time ever. And then they're searching his trunk. Man, I'm sorry. Like, this shit just pissed me the fuck off when I just think about it. Like, all right, we Nigerian. And it's like, one of the dishes Nigerians like to enjoy is gari. Fufu. That's rice flour. This cop is looking in there and he's thinking this shit is coke. My dad is far from that person, yo. Yo, we was hot about that for a while. I mean, they let us go, but man, even thinking about that, I think about my dad. I love that guy. He is the most respectable, just hard-working person. And it's just like, this cop just pretty much was looking at him like he was some shady drug dealer. I'm okay. I'm gonna be done with that. But it's the fact that so many black people in this country have these similar stories. It's like, that's a problem. And the problem is with the policing system in this country. And we just have to acknowledge that the policing system in America has racist roots with the end of slavery, the Emancipation Proclamation, the KKK, and the Runaway Slave Patrol. And the Runaway Slave Patrol. And then I hear people talk about, oh, if we had more black police officers, that would make a difference. But let's think about something. And this is going back to KRS Black Cop. Once upon a time in this country, black people were not allowed to be police officers. Black people have been slaves in this country longer than we've been citizens. That is way too ingrained in the country's fabric, psyche. And it's just, what's the point if you put some diversity in there, or if you just add more female officers or whatever, if the same things are happening, you know? I mean, for every black person that gets killed by a cop, like, well, white police officer, there's a case like Akai Gurley, and he got killed by an Asian police officer. And then there's these stories of like Latino police officers killing black men, and then it's like, yo, is the problem really policing or anti-black? Is it white supremacy or is it anti-blackness in these forces? Like, I'll be seeing some of these videos and it's like, it's almost as if they joined the police forces to just take their aggression out on black people. And it's like, what did we do to deserve this? Like, I think about all of the black people I've known in my life, so creative, friendly, just innovative, just funny. Like, why you hate us? Like, it's like, here's the warped methodology, psychology of racism. Like, all right, here's why racism is so fucked up. It's like, it's a sickness almost, but it's a system, too, of dominance that's been in power for decades, centuries now. But it's a macro and a micro as well. So what I was about to say is, racism is so fucked up, it can make somebody, like a white man could just be like watching a black family just enjoy a dinner at a restaurant, laughing and talking, and just that will fill him up with so much rage that he wants to murder them. That is not cool. That is not healthy energy. And there's way too much of this energy around. And it's like, I'm going to tell you something else too. They have advisories in African and West Indian countries for black folk traveling from there into America at times because of the like proximity, the violence, the amount of racist violence from police officers at times there. That's a real thing. And that's also why you see a lot of Africans and West Indians supporting Black Lives Matter in America and supporting Black lives in America, because this shit is global. Like, white supremacy is global. You could even go to Africa, and you're not going to get away from it. You're not going to get away from it there. And that's the fucked up thing about it. That's why this system needs to be dismantled, destroyed, and replaced with something that resembles equality and justice. And that's one of the reasons I get mad about this, because it's like, if somebody like Elijah McClain can't get justice, or Trayvon Martin, or John Crawford, or Sandra Bland, or Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, like George Floyd, then what does that say for the rest of us in America, the rest of us black folk, you know? The proximity of these racist crimes and that have been just perpetrated on so many levels, on a macro and micro scale, like, and these police attacks, it's like, it could be any of us, you know? It's stuff I don't really like to think about, you know? I like to just think about the positive things in my life. I like to just think about making music. I like to just think about skateboarding. And I like to just think about, you know, fly women and like fancy clothes. But when you're black in America, you got to have two minds. You got to be aware that it's like, hey, you can live your life. Don't let the crux of knowledge weigh you down. But still, you got to be aware of your environment. It's like racism is a constant thing, 24/7, 365. Like, these cops talk about blue lives matter, but you can take off that uniform. And not all police officers' uniforms are blue. This skid by African features, I got this 24/7. Now, I'm black and proud, B. Just letting you know that. But, man, like, I just don't want to live in a world where it feels like, yo, being black is a crime or a death sentence, and it shouldn't be and never was. And black lives will always matter. Your life matters, my life matters, like, for real. And another thing, just that phrase, Black Lives Matter, Nowhere in that phrase does it say all lives don't matter. Nowhere in that phrase does it say white lives don't matter. We're just saying that in a time, at this point in time, there has been a habitual cycle of Black lives not mattering. And it goes all the way in so many aspects of this society, from finance to education to banking to home ownership to the criminal justice system to politics to entertainment to the music industry to the fashion industry, in healthcare, in the military, in technology, in science, in religion, anything you can think of. And it's like, I'm even thinking about this COVID-19 crisis. Like, there should have been a time when America stepped up to fight this, but instead the president has just stoked the fans of division and just made this shit into a culture war. And that's one of the reasons why the death toll in America because of this is so high, and it shouldn't be. Like, Trump is just really incapable of bringing people together because he can't build shit, all right? He's an idiot, all right? He's a racist idiot who can't build shit. And people who can't build shit, they're just used to destroying shit because they can't build it. Have you ever gave somebody like a new technology device or a model or a toy? It's all nice, new. You give it to them, then you leave them with it for like an hour, and next thing you know, you get it and it's broken? That's Trump. He's an idiot. He breaks things. He's broke this country. All right, over 40 million people are unemployed now. Like, at one point, 2-3 weeks ago, damn near every fucking city in America was on fire because of George Floyd's murder by police. Over 120,000 people are dead. This motherfucker wiped out 113 months of post-recession gains, yo. Trillions of stock market value. He's bankrupt. He's gonna bankrupt America like one of his businesses if he gets 4 more years. That's why you gotta vote. Like, I don't even want to say corny stuff. I don't want to even be corny, but you don't want 4 more years of this, let alone 4 more months. I am convinced this man will destroy the world if we give him 4 more years in office. He will get us into a nuclear war. We will die. Like, I swear to God. You got to get that dude out of the White House. He is dangerous. Trump is so dangerous. He is the most dangerous man in the world right now. Why you give a dumb motherfucker like that the nuclear codes? Like, for real. And the way he talks about nuclear weapons, like, it's disturbing. It is so disturbing. But we need people that can bring us together. But we also need to realize that a lot of these problems are generational. And this is going out to the white followers I got on social media, my fans and everything. It's like, nobody is born racist. Not all white people are racist, but you got to understand that every white person benefits from racism in this racist society. So it's not even enough to be non-racist. We got to be anti-racist. Everybody's got to be anti-racist. But that includes like, from like the younger followers, like, yo, if your family members or your friends do or say some racist shit, you got to hold them accountable for it. You got to put them to the fire. You got to call them out on it. And if you lose some friends over that, or they think you're a nigger lover because of that, fuck them. Who wants to be around a bunch of fucking racists like that? And also to the parents, too, like, for real, you got to tell your kids, like, why things like the Confederate flag and the swastika are wrong. You can't just tell them it's wrong. You got to tell them why. You got to tell them why racism is wrong. You got to tell them why judging people for their skin color or their beliefs or their names or their faith or whatever. You got to tell them why it's wrong. And I feel like this is the reason why we're just in this situation. Like, it's not enough to be non-racist, we gotta be anti-racist. Like Angela Davis be saying that, but she makes perfect sense when we say that. Because it's like I said before, no one is born racist. I lived in New York for so long. It's like you see kids of all different colors and creeds coming together. And like, they don't know. It's only until they get older that they realize that, or they just learn about racism. It's like, the thing is, for black people, it's like, we gotta learn from an early age how to deal and navigate this racist society. I'm pretty sure every other black person in America has had that talk with their parents. Their parents gave them that talk where it's like, honey, you gotta work twice as hard, 3 times as hard to be seen as half as good in America as a white person, because America is racist. Like, because you're black and because like of all this stuff, like, you've already got a strike against you, so you got to work 10 times harder. It shouldn't even have to be that way. That's why we need to strive for a society that works on justice and equality and tolerance. Like, there is no reason we should be fighting each other like this. But at the same time, I just recognize too, as a black person, that my people have been done injustice, and it's like, unless we get some restitution, nothing's gonna change. And it's not just black folks, it's all the people that this country has wronged. It is Latinos, it is Asian folks, it's Native Americans, it's Jewish folks, it's everybody this country is wrong. Like, and that's one of the reasons why these statues gotta go and all that other stuff. It's like, how are you going to attempt to move forward or call yourself a progressive country when we're still having these old divisions and we can't move forward with this? Like, as soon as we get our stuff taken care of as black folks, we can work on everything else. But we got to work. We got to have our shit together. Otherwise, other generations will suffer. And it's not even just like that. It's with climate change. It's with the economy. It's with all this stuff. Like, what are you trying to pass down to your children? Like, I think about it. I don't want to live in a world where it's like, I got to give a talk to my children where it's like, okay, son, daughter, here's what you got to do if you get pulled over by police. You got to comply. You got to do this. You got to do that. You got to do all this stuff just to make sure that even during a routine traffic stop, an officer does not blow your head off. Meanwhile, it's like, oh, white people, what are they telling their kids? Oh, you can call cops. They'll help you in this situation. They'll change your flat tire. Oh, they'll do this. They'll do that. But I think a lot of y'all are starting to see during these protests, like, considering these cops are beating up white people too, alongside black folks and brown folks and whatever, that at the end of the day, these motherfuckers don't care about you, for real. They don't. Their rules are from the state. They are the law. They can change it whenever they feel like it and make you disappear if they want to. They don't give a fuck about us. Like, there was just a story in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, about or somewhere in North Carolina, about these 3 officers, these 3 white police officers that got fired because they said they couldn't wait to go out there and kill some niggers. And then you think about how many white police officers have this mentality, and as a black person, it's like, that's scary. Like, there's a lot of officers out there that really, they just want to kill you. They don't see you as a human being. They see you as a sport, as something to be hunted for sport. That's not something America, like, that's not how law enforcement should be in America at all. No. We pay y'all to protect us, but you want to hunt us down like pigs. What did we do to you other than exist? And I think about that. It's like, something's got to change, you know? People talk about defunding the police, demilitarizing the police, but I think the problem is a lot different than that. Like, I really think a lot of these white male police officers and white female police officers that become cops should probably just go to therapy instead, because it seems like they got resentment issues towards black people, and being in the police force isn't even a way to help black folks out or anybody else. It's their way to just get their aggression out on black people. Like, I saw this one video, like a couple years back. This black man, I forget where this was at, like, was being subdued by like 4 or 5 white police officers. 2 of them were female. This one white female cop just whoops this guy's head, and then as soon as she gets up, she just like, yay! It's like, yo, she was celebrating beating a black man's head in. So that's why you want to become a cop? Because you hate black people? And you want to kill us? You want to beat us because you're mad that we exist? Go to therapy then. Don't fucking become a cop. Do that before you kill somebody. You can't bring somebody back, all right? I think about all the grieving mothers and aunts and uncles and family members. Like, you see them on the news, they crying over their relatives, their family members they lost. That's real to us. Our lives are not a fucking joke or something. Our lives aren't a fucking joke. You don't give a fuck about, like, our feelings or our futures or our families or our dreams or the lives we have or our passions. You don't even see us as human. And that's why people are mad. That's why I've been mad. I can't even deal with this anymore. Like, I'm just trying to live my life without any problem. But it's like, even if you comply with these officers, they could just get away with killing you. Like, there's words of white supremacists infiltrating the police forces, and the FBI said that years ago. And now, like, in the wake of these Black Lives Matter protests, like, black people are being lynched again in 2020. Black people are being hung from trees in 2020. Keep in mind what America is about. This country was built on the bodies of the Native Americans and African slaves. It's got bad energy all around it. After slavery, over 4,000 black people were hung from trees for 6 decades. And then it's like, you would think this is something of the past, but no, it never left. It never left. This is the danger that we have to face each day. And it's not just these outward symbols of racism too. It's these subtle symbols of racism. Like, if it's not the dude in a Klan outfit, it's the dude in a suit and tie denying you a loan that could change your life in a tough situation based because of your skin color. Or it's the man denying you a job. It's the man in the suit and tie denying you a job because of your skin color and your name. Or it's the politician that wants to zone off this area so it just dries out in funding because it's black and the other communities do not want that. I remember when my family moved into the neighborhood they live in now, like in 1993, all right? We were the only black family on that block for a while. And then it's like, in the first 3 months we were there, like 4 different people moved out. Because I guess they thought that more black people would come in the neighborhood and then they would just like take down the property value and anything. And this leads me to another point that I got. Like, I see a lot of white people saying, oh, I'm not racist because I'm not this outward KKK, Nazi, like, spewing racial slurs. But you'll still, like, think and do racist stuff. Like, you'll still think, like, oh, black people are still kind of just, like, below you. Or you'll think that black people are just not intelligent or just not worthy of praise, or you'll think black people are just suspicious or criminal, or you'll just get nervous around black people. Like these Black Lives Matter white people protesters, they'll be out there that ass protesting for like black folks, but I bet like couple months ago, weeks ago, they were clutching their purse when a black man was walking across the street, walking towards them on the same sidewalk. But it's like, I guess a lot of white folks are realizing they've had these racist thoughts, even though they weren't bad, even though it wasn't extreme or anything, they still contributed to this racist system and they feel guilty towards it. And it's just racist jokes, just like subtle racist stuff. If we look at, like, there's the hierarchy of oppression. If we look at it, that's the bottom of it, this minimal stuff. The top of it is genocide, murder. Once you get to the point where black people are being murdered on video by police officers, it's too late. It is too late. Yeah, it's too late for that once it gets to that point. So I guess the guilt is there that they didn't do anything sooner. But hey, I mean, whatever. It's like, you're doing something now, that's better. I appreciate that. But I feel like it is not enough. Like, you got to be anti-racist. You got to stomp out racism. You got to teach your kids not to fall into these traps of racism. You got to tell them why it's wrong instead of just it's wrong or just be colorblind. Because if you're not telling your kids why racism is wrong, this will continue. These thought processes, this symbolism, these ideas, this system will continue. Yo, I had to get a lot of shit off my chest. I'm just glad I have this. I know for a lot of black men, like, some of us really don't have outlets, and I just want to say this. Like, please do not bottle up your emotions, black man. That's destructive. I know what type of bullshit we living in, and it makes it kind of hard to enjoy life, but you still can. And hearing this news every day, aside from the racism we face on a 24/7, 365 basis, it's stressful. It breaks you down, but you can't, black women too, like, I'm telling you, don't let this society break you down. You are beautiful, you are great, you are worthy of praise, you are worthy of everything the world has to offer. And I know, like, racism can be so fucking depressing. Like, that's the thing about racism. Like, it's one of those things that if you let it, it could destroy every fiber of your being and kill your will to enjoy life. And that's another reason why I just rage against this, because it's like, a lot of people who don't have to deal with this or aren't affected by racism don't understand how destructive this is. It is such a man, I'll tell you what, that's probably the thing I get the angriest about is racism. The thing I get the angriest about is racism. Like, just like uncontrollably angry. Yo, even to the point where I've had people in my circle tell me, yo, Tim, you need to chill. Man, it's just like, I do not want to see black people mistreated just for being black. I do not want to see black people discriminated against just for being black, yo. I do not want to see black people get killed just for being black. Like, I don't watch any of these police videos because I just don't want to see like that. Like, I cried a couple of nights ago, yo. Because I was just like, when is this gonna end? Like, and I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. I'm a grown-ass man, but a lot of shit that's been going down, that shit has brought tears to my eyes. Like, for real. And it's like, if it's not sadness, it's anger. And I don't want to feel these emotions anymore. But sometimes it's like, you got to just to have some sort of change. Like, you got to be angry and just sad just to want to not be sad anymore. That gets you out on the street protesting or doing something to change this. Because again, it's like, yo, this could be me. This could be you. Like, I don't want to ever have to let my family deal with that. Like, I could never imagine. And I think about it. What if that happened to me? Like, how would the media try to portray me, you know? Like, don't get it twisted. Like, I'm a good dude. I have done a lot of good work, and I tried to put as much good back into society as possible. But I know with this racist society, they would do everything to try to portray me as a criminal or some sort of, like, wrongdoer just because I'm black and male. And it's like, nah. It's like, for my music fans, the fans that have been fucking with me, it's like, you know the legacy, you've seen the music, you've listened to it. It's like, for everybody else, like, they don't know. Like, would they see me as the family man? Would they see me as the person that, like, you know, that has, like, that has, like, black transgender siblings and that looks out for them? Would they see me as some monster? Would they see me as somebody that worked with a community fund that just helped kids, like, find their artistic goals? Or would they just try to paint me as some, like, thug? Whatever. Like, I could already imagine it. Oh, you know, I was just joking about it. Like, like, as a DJ, as a techno producer, like, if I've ever made it to a point and, like, a big point, got famous and got arrested, yo, they wouldn't call me a DJ in the media. They would just call me a rapper. And y'all ever see that bullshit where it's like, okay, some R&B singer would just get hemmed up for, like, a parking ticket. Next thing you know, on the news, it's like, rapper? They immediately introduce this nigga as a rapper. And it's like, what? No, that is not in a positive sense. Because rapper, thug, to that Fox News, right-wing, Trump, dog-whistling crowd, that is just another word for nigger. That is another word for basically an enemy, an other. They're trying to demonize you before they even try to understand you. So it's like, that's another reason why I put videos like this out. Like, and I remember when I was saying on social media, when I was on Twitter, and I'm gonna talk about why I'm no longer on, why I disappeared on Twitter. I'm gonna talk about what happened to my Twitter account after this, because I think a lot of my fans deserve to know. And this is another thing that I've been trying to get off my chest for a while now. But yeah, that's why I try to just put as much positivity out and just awareness out on social media as possible. Because it's like, that's the person I want to be, not to mention that's the person I've always been aware and was interested in politics and just movements for social, economic, and political change. I remember being 2003 protesting against the Iraq War when GW was president in March. And then it's in Afghanistan. And then we went there anyways. And it's like, and then in 2014, like, I was protesting in support of Mike Brown and the whole Darren Wilson murder. And that's another thing I kind of like. That's another thing that just gets me upset thinking about it. I'm just kind of not gonna, like, all of these get me upset, but like, I'm just sick and tired of seeing black people being executed by police or just killed. Like, black people, for as much as we've contributed to this country, society, the world, should be celebrated and appreciated and it's respected, not executed. Like, I'm really not trying to raise future children in a world that's like this. I want to do something to change that. So that's why I'm going to be marching again in support of Elijah McClain. Like, I just want something to change, and like, I just want to support my black American brothers and sisters out there in the fight for in the struggle for justice and equality in this fucked up nation, Babylon. But yeah, looks like I'm done here. So, yo, thank you, like, for watching this, whatever. Like, if you care, like, follow me. If you don't, whatever. But again, thank you.